It's been a year already since last album from you. Are you already working on new stuff or?
Not really. We're not really there yet. We still have some touring to do, so we can't really force it. But I think we're slowly getting into that mindset of maybe starting, working on something new. But we still have some shows and smaller tours to do.
So no new ideas popping up at the moment, or?
Well, I mean, sometimes, you get kind of like a picture of what you would like to do for the next album, especially when you're done with the previous album. It's like, okay, maybe I want to do this different for the next album, but nothing really like, concrete yet.
You got some of the criticism. I mean, a lot of critics were happy about the Panic broadcast, but some of the criticisms, some of the critics said that it was too overproduced, too clean, too polished. Do you agree to that, or?
Not really. I can't really recall that I've seen any comments about like the production being polished or too clean. Jens Bogren is an amazing producer, and he's one of the few. You hear so many clean productions where everything is like the drums are triggered, everything sounds very plastic. This is all natural. There's no triggers or, to me it's like a really perfect balance. Not that we want to have like a punk sound, but it's like, somewhere right in between. Like it feels, alive, but still you can hear like it's very detailed. That's important for us. So I can't really I say that I can, agree with that.
So, how important is it for you to? I mean, you've been a long time in the game to renewing your music versus staying, within the boundaries of metal, if we can speak of that.
Yeah. Well, it's been an interesting journey, and it's always been very natural for us. I mean, we're 6 people in the band, and we have different backgrounds, so I think it would be really, really hard to always, let's say you make a really successful album and just do that all over again. It would be really boring, if you ask me. And I feel that mostly of the soilwork fans out there really develop with a band. They know that there will be some kind of a surprise for each album, and I don't know. I kind of like that too. It's not like we change from black metal to jazz. It's like it's still there. You feel the soilwork nerve. But it's I don't know. We just like to develop the sound and we kind of surprise ourselves and the listener.
So, do you think you have a special Scandinavian sound, or how do you see that being Scandinavian band on the metal scene?
Well, I mean, obviously the melody has always been very like a key to the Scandinavian metal scene, I would say. So that's definitely one of those elements, something that is timeless, timeless melodies and stuff like that, and so that's been really important, and to be very, dynamic too. It's I don't know. It's kind of hard to put a label if we sound like I would assume we sound kind of Scandinavian, but I think we also put like something unique that makes it a little bit different. There's a lot of interesting like for example the Swedish scene is way more interesting nowadays than in like the late 90s when all of the bands sounding very similar, but now like really like Dark Tranquillity have their sound. It's like Trademark and In Flames have their sound, Soilwork have their sound, and The Haunted, it's way more diverse.
So the metal scene has changed, definitely.
For sure. I mean, it's if you ask me, it's richer, in that aspect.
But I mean, the business, the whole music business today. Would you say that there is more room for diversity now? But sometimes it can seem that there's less room for diversity on the stage.
I feel there's a lot of room for diversity. It's you see a lot of bands. I mean, feel kind of like there's this new trend with like just crazy technical stuff mixed with like kind of like typical metalcore and stuff like that. But there's a lot of good players out there. Unfortunately, not a lot of good songwriters. If you ask me, it's like you can find so many talented people, but what really makes you talented is if you can write a song.
Yeah, exactly. About the lyrics, do you all contribute to the lyrics? How is the process for you when working with this stuff?
It's usually me who write all the lyrics, and we usually like finish the music first, everything, so I don't have to like compromise with like rhythm if I have like a really like lyric that I want to get in there, but I have to cram it in there, and it's like, and then I have to compromise, but because the rhythm is really important to me as well. It's the part of the whole thing. So I usually wait to write lyrics until everything is done.
Yeah, what I mean is a classical question, of course, but the inspiration. I mean, what triggers you when you're writing lyrics?
Like, for so many other, lyricists, I guess, just personal experiences and things that you need to get out, and frustration. But I'm not as angry as I used to be, so it's like you also notice that you can actually write things that deals with topics that normally wouldn't belong to metal or in metal, and that's pretty interesting too. That can be a kick to actually manage to write something, as long as it has like a strong message, as long as it's real.
So it can still be metal even though it's more mellow.
For sure, for sure. It's all a matter of like creating pictures, with the music and the words.
What music are you listening to at the moment, and what inspirations do you have from the past?
Wow, I mean, I would say that I don't listen a lot to like the newer scene, so to speak, like metal. I listen to a lot of old stuff and like classic rock, 70s, 80s, early 80s, and every now and then you hear like a really good metal band coming out, and you get really into it. It's like examples. I recently discovered, actually, because I always thought that Every Time I Die was just a typical like metalcore band, just by like hearing the name, because it was like 3 random words like so many other metalcore bands. But it's like, man, I was wrong, and it's like I really really love their latest album. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
It's more like kind of like rock based breakdowns instead of just like the typical tough guy metal thing. So that was refreshing.
So, like you said earlier, I mean, getting older, you're not as angry anymore. So, has it also influenced what you listen to?
I guess, but it's not like you get old and boring, and like sometimes I find myself listening to more brutal stuff than I used to listen to back in the day. So it's like it's kind of I'm very unpredictable. It's really hard to tell. You never know.
So, where do you? I mean, do you see a difference? You talked about how the Swedish metal scene has evolved. How do you see the difference performing here, performing in Sweden, Norway, Finland, and I mean Scandinavia in general, and then the rest of the world?
Well, I mean, the scene here is huge. Like especially in Sweden and Finland, it's absolutely insane. Like, and a lot of kids too. Even kids that wouldn't look like the normal like average metal fan. It's like more like like average Joe. It's like they kind of dress like mainstream kids, but they love metal too. It's like, and it's becoming huge in Sweden. So that's really cool to see.
And do you know any Danish music or I mean Danish metal or other Danish acts? Do you listen to any of that?
Well, we had a chance to tour with a couple of great bands, and they're really good friends of ours as well. And Nemik and Hatesphere, and we also know the guys from Raunchy, the great band. And who else is there? Yeah, there's and then we have God, am I forgetting the name right now? God damn it! Yeah, I'm forgetting the name. Embarrassing. Sorry. Yeah.
So, what is tour life these days for you guys? I mean, that has probably changed as well. I mean, getting older and stuff like that. Or is that true?
Well, I mean, it's like you know, it works different for people. It's like some people can just go crazy and drink like a fish all their life, you know, without really. I mean, obviously the inside is going to take a toll, but it's like I've definitely cut down on my drinking. Not as much booze anymore. More sticking with beer. So, but it's still, you know, it's still fun. So.
So not as many parties, but then what do you do? I mean, like you said now. I mean, there's a really a tight schedule. But when you do have some time, are you reading in the tour bus and stuff like that, or?
I do. Do a little bit of reading. I guess watching TV shows like everyone else, streaming. You know, that's like pretty much what everyone's doing. And I try to work out too on tour. You know, even though it's hard sometimes. But I like to run and stuff like that.
So getting the touch on the producing work, is there anything else you want to try out, new genres, or I mean, working for other guys perhaps?
Well, I've been trying to do a little bit of vocal producing. I was just in Toronto for 4 months with my girlfriend, and I was producing a few bands there together with the singer from Threat Signal, Canadian band, John Howard. So that was really interesting. I've done like vocal coaching before, but not really like producing bands. But I think it's a lot of fun to actually, you know, bring out the best from a singer. To just, you know, that's a really a great kick.
So a diverse approach to music again.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Thank you very much. Have a nice show.